is a movie, to me, I don't ever want to see again. But at the same time, I'm going to remember for a long time. It's The Wicker Man. It's Annihilation. If they all go down the same road with Green Inferno, they'll meet at Waco, Texas, and you have this movie, Midsommar.
I was most excited for you to come.
So, you got this group of college students, I would say later college, they all seem to be about 25 years of age, and they go on a midsummer vacation with a friend apparently they've known for a while. That's the way they make it feel.
Yeah, he's like a foreign exchange student.
Yeah, and he lives in some kind of weird cultish-like community. I want to say almost like the Amish, like you're living back in time.
Yeah, there's obviously no electric. There's no.
Of course, they have rituals.
Yeah,
unlike you could imagine.
Yeah, they do have cars and tractors and stuff, though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know exactly, but the Amish
heavily farming.
The Amish have cars and stuff like that for people who go out of town sometimes. This movie should have been about an hour and a half. It's 2.5 hours long. There's times you look at your watch and you're just thinking, God, is it over yet? And then there's times where you're like, this is kind of good. But I know Mike here didn't like it quite as much as me, so what's your point on it? What do you think about this?
Yeah, so Ari Aster, he is a king at putting together disturbing, suspenseful movies.
Who's gonna take care of me?
You don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die...
She wasn't altogether there. At the end.
He's very good at the way he molds them together. The first one, Hereditary, I think had more of a story than this one did. It was more of a horror movie than this one tried to be. This one was too, to me, drug out. It felt like I was going through a bad trip. Because this movie was solid, weird sexual imagery, violence on a very hardcore level, like very gory.
When they do show violence.
They have some violence. There was a lot of drug imagery in this. There was a lot of violence in a kind of a pervasive, sometimes sexual way. It was all about this cult, like Larry said. It was this. They wanted to pray or bring about good weather and good crops and good life for their community. And the way it went about it was in a sick kind of serial killer kind of way, where they invite in people from outside to come into their ritual and do things to them. Exactly. I mean, without spoiling anything. And like Larry said, it's so slow. The first hour and 45 minutes are so painful sometimes that you're just looking at your watch, what the hell is going on?
It could have been an hour-long movie. I mean, it would have been a good hour-long movie, or a TV show.
Could have been a television show.
This, it's just a little too long. Just some weird stuff that happens here. It drags.
It's hard to put it together in words because it's they'll focus on a car ride and they'll focus on them walking into the place and then smoking and then talking and then smoking again, drinking something, dancing, and they keep doing one thing after the next. They start this off wrong, I think. If this movie would have been done, I think, a little better with this pacing, they should have started off with the friends in the car going to the place. But instead, we get this really kind of a depressing, horrific take on what happened to her family. And it's terrible. It's visually terrifying. And it happens in the first 10 minutes of the movie. But they don't really go back to that. It affects her and tears her down, but they don't really go back to it.
They go back to it at one time for a few seconds when you get to see the image in the mirror. Yeah. But I was I was wanting more of that. I was wanting to have that be an effect. I wanted to have that
part of the movie.
Have a serious, be one of the products of the movie that you come out with, and it's not. It's just literally it just happened, and that's all.
And they throw in scenes that are tied to that, like 1 or 2 jump scare things, and they got other things that are flashbacks to that moment, but they don't really do anything with it. It's just dropped. They forgot about it.
In the end, you do not get
any resolution.
You don't get no resolution to that story.
No.
It just
It focuses mainly on this group of kids that are kind of assholes to each other, like common American college kids that are yuppies that are very smart, but they're kind of dicks, and they think they're God's gift, you know?
Yeah.
Millennials.
It's millennials, definitely 25.
And they bicker and argue and have some good moments together, like friendly moments, but you don't really feel much for them. And that's the problem throughout the whole movie, are these weak characters that you're supposed to really be attached to at the end, but you don't really care. Even the main girl, Danny.
I don't think, and even her boyfriend, I thought he was okay.
Yeah. Jack Ryder
Everybody
is a
else,
good
though,
actor.
when they die,
Yeah.
when it happens,
You don't really care.
actress Florence Pugh,
Yeah.
sometimes she overdoes it with the emotion. She just cries and cries and cries, and I'm like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah,
But you know what?
she's miserable and
Yes,
terrified, and
but you're almost just over.
yeah,
It's overkill to me.
they got a unique. The whole broken relationship thing's neat because it shows her struggling to become independent of this guy. And this guy is one of those just, I don't really give a shit. I want out of this relationship. She's annoying. Her family's been annoying, and now they're and it's just dragging me down. That's the kind of guy he is. He doesn't really give a shit. But he's not a bad guy. He's just he just doesn't want to be with her anymore.
How long have you two been together?
Just over 3.5 years.
4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's doing anything or beating her. In fact, he's been pretty nice
At
most
times,
of the time.
I almost feel like he still wants to be with her.
Kinda.
And maybe even almost like marry her.
Right.
But at the same time,
he's got his doubts.
She's got a lot of baggage.
And I like how they put that in there. It wasn't like him being some nutbag that was beating her. It was subtle, and it was like a relationship issues that people have. But she kind of took it like you kept seeing her in this weird, helpless, screaming, crying state over and over and over. And I thought that somewhere towards the middle of the movie, she'd be coming around and coming out of that. But she never really did. Even at the end, she was just wailing and crying and this. And I mean, I don't know. It got to me like they didn't change her character much. The Friends, there was a comic relief character, Will Poulter, who played Mark. He was one of the better characters in the movie because you got
that character
a little bit to know him. He was annoying, yes, but he was meant to be, I think. He was annoying, goofy, sometimes funny, but at least you got to know him, it felt like.
But I want to say, did you care when he died? But you didn't even know when he dies because all the deaths, except for a few, happen off screen. There's not a. You want to say this is going to be a gory movie?
Yeah,
and there is times of gore, but
it's
not
the problem
a lot.
You have with the Villager people as well. Not only are the main actors and the secondary actors all kind of just not very fleshed out, is the word, but sort of the Villagers. They were sort of just walking around doing their chanting, and you didn't really get to know any of them, really.
Yeah, there's a few that
even the leader
you don't really get to know.
Yeah,
you get to see.
Yeah, they're like walking around, giving you like,
you know, he's got
these googly eyes and shit. I mean,
you know, there's a few females here that tend to, I guess, take to some of the male.
They need to breed.
Incomers.
That's part of this. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but they need to breed too. So
you're gonna get that in every single.
He's got a lot movie. He's got a lot of dicks and a lot of everything, and there's full frontal throughout this whole thing, and we'll come back to that when I talk about the kids part. The disturbing part came kind of from the music, cinematography, stuff like that. He knows how to put together a movie that looks good. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
You know, it's all in the daylight. There's a lot of bright colors,
beautiful flowers and trees.
A lot of trippy moments that look nice. That I thought there's a lot of annihilation, like I said in there, where you can see them almost connecting with nature, the environment.
Yeah, and things growing out of them.
And I thought that was good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really torn on this movie.
There are some scenes that are violent, like such as flames. People are on fire. They fry people alive. They flay them. They rip their skin off. They wear them as hats.
But yet, at the same time, as much as you describe that, my God, that sounds horrific.
Right.
But no, it's not. It's not even really gory. I didn't feel.
It's like Headhunter.
like, there's a lot of movies that sometimes you see the gore, and you're like, ugh. And this movie, I was just like, oh, okay, so he's filleted, but...
You don't see it happen. And you don't really see anything, like there's no blood, really, and stuff sometimes.
You're never connected to those characters.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like... And what happens to them is off screen, so when you do see it, you're just like, oh, okay.
But then they'll hit you with a shocking face-to-face death that is violent, and that's what throws you off. And you even get that in the very beginning of the movie.
I don't know, I feel like...
They could have done more.
This movie could have had a lot...
Less line dancing and more character development.
Yeah. Honestly, just... less. I mean, honestly, take out 45 or 50 minutes, make it fast,
there
make
were
it
so
quick
many
paced.
nature walks, and there were so many things like that were just pointless.
And they're going through all these rituals, and some of these rituals don't even lead to anything.
And they take like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them literally, they start this ritual, and you'll go through the whole thing for like 5 to 10 minutes.
And then I'm going to talk to the basically normal moviegoer.
Oh no,
the normal moviegoer
will hate this.
There's parts of this movie, which I actually seen online, where they're talking about, oh, look at the wall, there's this, or this is on the wallpaper. I'm sorry, the normal moviegoer, the person who isn't just sitting there and watching this movie 12 times, you're never going to see that.
Most of the time, no.
You're going to be like, oh.
But the close-ups of certain things, they do show you things that are going to happen on, like, drawings that are, like,
I know
right in your face.
That first part with, like, there's something, like, hanging on
tapestries
a line, like
shit.
tapestry.
Yeah.
And they're showing basically what's going to happen in the future of the movie.
Immediately, I knew what was going to happen.
I didn't. I was just
the
like...
flames. I was like...
I was going through my mind is, okay, these are some creepy people.
Yeah.
And apparently somebody was looking at this.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you leave right then?
Something. I mean, there's horrific images of people being murdered on your wallpaper.
Yeah,
and they're just like, huh, that's...
And let's just talk about that.
Pretty cool.
Like I said, the characters you get to know in the beginning of this movie would not stick around for this.
No, the characters in the beginning were really like they weren't dickheads to themselves all the time. They were smart. They were college educated. They were very intelligent, doing their PhDs and stuff like
theses.
that. And they were investigating. So they were actually looking for things about this cult and trying to understand it. But yet they acted so dumb through certain parts. Yeah. But I guess it's the drugs, and we need to talk about that. The drugs are 50% of this movie. It's ayahuasca, it's liquids, it's droplets, it's in the drinks. They mix mushrooms together. They get high constantly, and it's a little jarring for most people probably, and it's really disorientating.
And that's where I started feeling some of that annihilation in there.
Yes.
With like the imagery,
the floating trees,
and her hat when it was like breathing,
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff, and the trees, the bark
he does it
moving.
Well. I will give him all the props for that, because he does it real well, the way he does the whole imagery and the flowers.
I thought it looked nice.
Looked great. But I don't know, after time it seemed like they were doing it too often. Can you imagine if Judge Dredd, the movie, the new one, they did that drug thing the whole movie, where everything was in slow motion with the crystals?
Well, the thing
and
is,
stuff?
there's a certain point in which people even start having doubts about what's going on here. First of all, from the moment I walked into that community, I'd be like, I need to leave.
Something's odd. Yeah,
something's weird. Something's not right.
And let's talk about the kids for a second. This is the most disturbing anti-kid movie I've ever seen. And I'm talking like, if you think about taking children to this.
Oh, don't, please.
There is so much full frontal nudity that I was even getting embarrassed.
And they're all old.
A lot of old people.
Yeah.
And there's extremely graphic death scenes at times that are just, kids would be broken. So
you know, it's Ari guy. He loves to put old naked people in.
And a lot of drug use. There's so much drug use. So no, this is a hard no again's anyone. I mean, under 17.
There's like, weird, almost like rapey sex.
Yeah, it's definitely a real problem. I mean, so anyone under 18 shouldn't see this. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. There wasn't a lot of finality to any of the horror. There was no. You can't think of this in a normal horror movie way, because it's not. There's no poltergeists or ghosts or demons or anything except in their head and the drugs. And brings out hallucinations sometimes, and it warps reality and all that stuff, and it is disturbing. And that's what this movie's foundation is, trying to disturb you into the point where you don't know what's going on, and you're shocked and you're scared at the same time. But you can only go so far with that.
I come out feeling like I said, I'll never see the movie again, but I'm going to remember it. I mean,
you will remember.
I literally was in the bar just kind of like thinking about it. You think about this movie afterwards, but you don't think good thoughts. You just kind of think,
it's not like Heredity where I have
what
like
the fuck?
Hereditary. It's not like that one where I think back and I'm like, wow, that was a crazy movie and it had a lot of good scares in it and all this other creepiness. It was just all under that. The story was well under that. I mean, I hope in his next one he adds more story, more characters, as far as interaction. There has to be more to him other than dickhead boyfriend, smart college
honestly,
friend. You know,
pick up the pacing, make it shorter.
Make it shorter.
And I think he'll make a really good, suspenseful movie.
Yeah.
This was just a little too long for me.
Music, everything else was fantastic. I will give this movie points for the music. For the way it was filmed. It does get a little too up its own ass sometimes when it starts flipping upside down for the 10th time.
Oh my god. The first time it flipped upside down, there's a point with cinematography here.
Oh, it gave me a headache.
It made me almost want to vomit.
It makes you...
like,
he sometimes goes sideways, and he'll flip upside down, and he'll do this other camera work that is really disturbing to your brain.
It's mostly at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
after that, it kind of ends. There's a lot of just brightness. There
are some
flares.
I mean, he should get an award for the film because the way it was shot in some scenes and the lighting and everything was amazing.
It definitely gives you the creepy Waco, Texas cult vibe. I mean, it definitely lays that on you.
That hits you.
You feel it, and I think that's why after the movie I almost felt a little heavy because it was just like
it was depressing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, there was a lot of depression.
Somewhere out there in the world, there's weird shit. Maybe not quite on this kind of crazy level, but there's weird shit this that goes on.
And the depression was another thing. This showed her taking pills, and it showed her taking pills at home, and it showed her trying to deal with grief and in depression. And I've had depression in my past, and I still deal with it all the time. So it's kind of neat seeing how that affects people and makes her the way she was in the movie, defensive, scared. All these different little things that she was feeling, I think also was because of depression. Yeah. I don't even think she hated her boyfriend at the end and wanted to do anything to happen to him. But I think that she was just so depressed it screwed her up on inside. Well, let's get to the final score here because I'm sick of this movie. What is going to be your final score for Midsommar?
I want to say I hate this movie so much that it was kind of actually okay and decent. I don't know. This one's a real... I'm back and forth. It's a real mystery to me because there are aspects of this movie that are excellent and there are aspects of this movie that are complete shit. Like, I hated them. And trying to balance those in my head right now is really, really hard. So I may be wrong on this review right now, but I'm going to go ahead and just say I'll give it a straight C. I thought the acting was good. I thought at times the story was good. It needed about an hour shaved off. I thought some of the weird visuals were good. Some of the, when they're on drugs and there's the annihilation type, their part with the nature, I thought that was good. And it's just a psychological horror movie that just doesn't really... I wasn't scared. And it's a horror movie. And if you're not scared in a horror movie, you can't say it's a good horror movie. It was just okay. It was... I'll never watch it again. I'll remember it. And that's all I can say about this movie.
So, C. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate what he was trying to do. He got a bunch of decent younger actors together. I mean, Danny Florence was really good at most of her duty in this movie. I mean, that was to make you feel sympathy and you cared about her and you felt her rage and when things happened to her, and then they delved into the relationship issues and how people can be kind of controlled and manipulated and being pushed around and how they got to try to break free sometimes, and then you got this cult that has its own thing going. Let's just put it that way. And a lot of disturbing stuff happens, and a lot of deep thinking drug-related crap that I didn't care about. I would say I liked the visuals, the music most of the time when it wasn't being too annoying, and I liked the way they put those themes in there. But I don't like the way they designed the story. I don't like the characters, the way they were put together. I think they could have gone way better with those. And without those elements, and like you said, we went in expecting a deep horror movie, and we didn't get any horror at all. It was more just in our head.
Yeah,
and it was just drugs and illusions and
I wasn't really scared.
Scary, gory crap.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to have to give this movie a D+.
You know, I was there at one point. I worked my way up. Because, like I said, there is parts of this movie I actually did like.
Hey, at least they didn't have sex with a cow or something, you know.
I was expecting that.
I was expecting it too.
You know, there's a point in which you're expecting, like, he thinks he's on the bed of roses with a beautiful girl, and it turns out to be a cow.
Or something.
Now, that would have been a horror part of the movie where I'd have been like, oh my God.
It's just, you go into this and you expect so much more sometimes.
I know. Some of these movies, you hear about them, you hear their
and people are going to say,
raving.
"Oh, these guys are idiots. It was so beautiful and blah blah blah." Yes, we understand it was beautiful. We understand it was about all these different themes and emotions. But you got to admit, the story, the core of the movie, was sort of just not really there. So,
you know, I think a few adjustments it could have been there.
Yeah. So don't eviscerate us for that, because all the other stuff we said we liked. We swear to God.
Yeah.
So,
but just expect when you go into this movie, if you're thinking you're going to see a horror, you're going to see horror. You're going to see someone
mental horror.
You know, be at some point killed. It's just going to take a real long time. To get there.
You have to fight through it.
But
I think we fought through enough of this review.
Yeah, this is all I got for this one.
So everyone, thank you for dealing with us in our misery. This movie is hard to make positive and happy because it's extremely depressing.
It really brought me down, dude.
Yes.
It took me down a notch. And maybe that's what it was trying to do.
I think that's what it was trying to do, make you think and be depressed. So anyway, on a happier note, hope everyone's having a good 4th of July weekend, and we appreciate you guys being around, checking out our page, subscribing, all that good stuff. So on behalf of me and Larry, I wish you guys a good 4th, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys.
Peace.